PPA, or a power purchase agreement, is in essence a long-term renewable energy contract between the supplier and the consumer, the customer. The generator agrees to fund, build, own and operate a solar array on the client's premises, usually on their roof, for a period of between 10, 15, 25 years. The client agrees to consume all the energy, the electricity they require from that array for the duration of the agreement. The client gets the power, gets the carbon reduction, and we take care of all the operations and the maintenance. The advantage of a PPA is it enables businesses to transition to clean energy without the need for upfront investment. An additional advantage is the cost for the power generated can be between 30 and 40% less than the current grid rate as paid by that customer for their electricity. A considerable saving that will only ever increase as likely grid rates increase over time through the length of the contract. The final benefit for the customer in the fully managed model, where one supplier is both installing, owning and operating the system, is as that supplier is providing to the client a fully managed service. That means that the running of the system, the delivery of electricity from that system, the maintenance, cleaning and all the operations involved in running that and providing ongoing, sustained and decent levels of electricity is within the responsibility of the supplier and not the responsibility of the customer. In this model, there are no upfront costs. The first bill that the customer will pay will be after the first month of operations of the system, and the only money they will pay and the only money they should pay throughout the entirety of the contract is for the electricity that they consume from the solar generation. The supplier recoups their costs from the long-term commitment given by the customer to purchase that power that they do consume for between 15, 20 or even 25 years. The longer the term, obviously the cheaper the electricity per unit is. That is the only financial commitment that is placed upon the customer under our PPA. The benefit for the business adopting PPA is a simple financial benefit based on the fact that the rate charged for every kilowatt hour of electricity can be between 30 and 40% lower than the prevailing grid rate that they will pay. Further, the benefits are achieved straight away. There is no payback period, as we just spoke about, and therefore those operational savings hit the bottom line within the first month of operations. The supplier will always remain and keep ownership of the system throughout the period of the contract. At the end of the agreement, there are three principal options. Firstly, the client can ask to take ownership of the system. The second option is that we remove it. The third option is to simply renew the contract. Those businesses best suited for a PPA, often those that have ESG targets to meet, carbon reductions, and probably don't have the available capex or funds to invest in their own solar production. A further consideration for a PPA is whether the business has a long-term commitment to that site, where there needs to be a long-term commitment in order to support a very advantageous cost per kilowatt for the eventual contract. Well, clearly this is a long-term commitment, and with any long-term commitment of 15, 20 years, you must look for financial stability and longevity. And so a provider that's backed by household names or indeed very large organisations with their own funding and decent track record would obviously be a very good partner to partner with. The other considerations is the detail and the flexibility of the PPA agreement. You may prefer a supplier that can guarantee you a fixed price for the entirety of the contract. Overall, for a small project, that can be probably achieved in 8 to 9 weeks. For a larger, more involved project with more stakeholders, we might be up to 10 to 12 weeks in total. But there are a number of factors that we need to consider throughout. In the worst case scenario, this will mean a cancellation of the contract. If that contract is to come to a close, then there are clearly financial penalties applied by the supplier to the customer, so they can ensure that they are able to recover their investment. The transfer of the contract is a real option. This will call for the complete contract to be moved across to either a new tenant or new owner, or indeed the landlord, and that will then remove the need for any cancellation fees to be applied to the current customer.